morning, good morning, good morning. Two warm-up problems for you today, okay? For you to try, attempt, succeed, okay? So let's start with those two this morning. All right, so on this one, this left fraction does not change. It's got no parentheses or exponents or parentheses within the fraction, etc. No change there. Right fraction changes to everything's got to get squared. 3 squared is 9. X squared squared is x to the 4th. Y cubed squared is y to the 6th. Then, once we have that, now we can start canceling stuff out. There's a 9 on top and a 9 on the bottom. Those two cancel each other out. There are 4 y's on the top that take out 4 y's from the bottom, leaving me with y squared over there. There are 3 x's on the bottom that take out 3 x's on the top, leaving me with just an x up there. So left over I have 3x squared over y to the 4th. Yes? They are there, and there, and there. Okay? Multiplying these two together gives me 6x squared plus 4x minus 3x is plus x minus 2. Then I can multiply those. First I'm going to multiply the x into all of the blue ones. That's going to be 6x cubed plus x squared minus 2x. Then I'm going to multiply the 3 into all of the blues. 18x squared plus 3x minus 6. Then I'm going to add those together, and that gives me 6x cubed plus 19x squared plus x minus 6. Yes, questions on either one of those? Okay, getting you to start to think about old stuff from the chapter, okay, because we have a chapter test coming up this week, Friday. Okay. Okay. So, 5.7.5, if you will, okay, or part 2, if you will. It's going to take everything, and we're going to wrap it all up in a nice little bowl. Okay? So, what I want you to do is I want you to do it all on that function. Okay? F of x equals negative x cubed plus 3x minus 2. I want you to find me the list of all the possible zeros. I want you to find me the factored form of f of x. I want you to find me all of the actual zeros. There's 3 of them. I want you to sketch the graph, and I want you to tell me what that function's end behavior is. Okay? So I want you to do it all. You don't necessarily have to do it in that order. Okay? You can do it in whatever order you want. You might find yourself in getting into a rhythm of, oh, if I do this first, and then I do this, and then I do this, that makes this be easier, which makes that be easier. Okay? You might not. Okay? So find me those 5 things for this function. Let's tackle this kind of in the way that we've been doing problems this week. So let's find the real zeros. Let's find the list of our real zeros first. Okay? What are the real zeros in this problem? Total list of possible zeros. Plus or minus what? Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2. Okay? Did anybody find one that worked? 1? Okay. So if I put 1 in there, that's going to be negative 1, 0, 3, and negative 2. Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2, 2, 0. So f of x then becomes x minus 1 times negative x squared minus x plus 2. Correct? Can negative x squared minus x plus 2 be factored? What can I do with it? What should I factor out first? What should I factor out first? Negative 1, right? Because we always like our squared terms to be positive in quadratics. X squared plus x minus 2. Can that be factored? Two numbers that multiply together to be negative 2 and add together to be positive 1. And x plus 2 and what? X minus 1. Okay. Like it? So that's our factored form. From there, we can say, well, x minus 1 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 1. And x plus 2 is equal to 0, so x has got to be negative 2. And x minus 1 equals 0, we already got, right? We got that one already, so we don't need to do that a second time. So then we can say that all of our zeros are negative 2 and positive 1. Okay. That's going to help us now give the sketch of our graph. I'm just going back down here, end behavior. Because now that I know where my zeros are at negative 2 and positive 1, I can now sketch my graph. So the degree of my original function was 3, and that is odd. What does that tell me in terms of my sketch? They're going to go in opposite directions, right? Okay. My lead coefficient in my original problem was negative 1. That is negative. So what does that tell me? So it's going to go down to the right and up to the left, right? Okay. So it's going to look something like that, right? Okay. So there's my sketch. Now I can say, for my end behavior, I can say as x goes to positive infinity, my function f of x goes to negative infinity. As I'm going to the right, my function is going down. As x goes to negative infinity, my function is going to positive infinity. As I'm going to the left, my function is going up. Questions on that?
For saying as x to the positive, if you don't put the plus sign in there, you see that it would.
I just put it in there because we put the negative sign in there. So. Yep, that's okay. Likewise down here too. Okay. Try that one. Same thing. Find me the 5. So again, I would start with the list. Oops. Come on now. My list of possible zeros is going to be plus and minus 1, 2, and 4. Agree? Okay. Now, most of you probably tried to synthetically divide this one, right? Okay. And that's fine. It'll work. Okay. Except for the fact that it's factorable. Okay. You could synthetically divide, and that's fine. You would have gotten zeros of 2 and negative 2. Okay, would have been the 2 that worked out. But if you would have noticed, 2, it is factorable. Okay, so then the factored form of f. Actually, let me move these. Hold on. I move these. Put those back over there. Then I can move my factored form over there. My factored form of f of x is x minus 2, x plus 2, and x squared plus 1. Which then that's going to allow me to get my zeros. So x minus 2 is equal to 0, so that gives me x equals 2. X plus 2 is going to equal 0, so that gives me x equals negative 2. And x squared plus 1 equals 0, so x squared is going to be negative 1. I take the square root, and remembering that anytime I take a square root and I'm solving, I've got to add plus or minus. I get plus or minus I there. Lots of people forgot the plus and minus on the 4.6 homework. Okay? Or put the plus and minus in the wrong spot. Okay? So then that gives me my zeros. All of my zeros are plus and minus 2 and plus and minus I. That then allows me to sketch my graph now. Just dig down and get it. There it is. Sketch of the graph. I've got an even degree. It was x to the 4th. I've got a positive lead coefficient, so that tells me that the even degree tells me they're going in the same direction on both sides. Positive tells me that it's going up. So it goes through negative 2 and positive 2. Okay? I can also very easily find my y-intercept. My y-intercept in this one is -4, because if I plug 0 in, I can set that value at -4. Okay? So it looks kind of like this. There's actually a little bit of a W action to it, if you would to actually graph it. Okay? And so then my end behavior becomes, as x goes to positive infinity, f of x goes to positive infinity, and as x goes to negative infinity, f of x goes to negative infinity also. Okay? And that's that. Questions on that one? I'm more concerned about the end behavior from the sketch than I am about the actual W part.
Why is it negative infinity?
Oops. Because I forgot the plus. That's why. Okay? So, today I'm actually going to give you 2 homeworks. The first homework that I'm going to give you is a wonderful purple worksheet that is a good review to start thinking about Friday's test. The other one is the actual chapter review to go along with this chapter. For that one, again, great one to be done. Both of these are due on Friday. Tomorrow in class we will do a review card activity that goes along with getting us thinking about all things that are going into the test